Hello and welcome to Custom Gamer. My name is Daz and this is the show where we talk about level design while playing cool maps. This is part 5 of Defendville, and this is probably the jewel in the crown, at least as far as visuals go anyway. Wow, this was made in 10 days. Fantastic. So this is Outpost 420 by Carlton. Justin made my favourite map in Ambushville. He did Third Watch, the level in the foggy kind of canyon where you were ambushed by a strider, and he's hit another ace here with the Outpost 420. So you start off in this huge vista. It's absolutely beautiful to look at. There's great sense of scale to it. The skybox is done really nicely. You get an excellent sense of kind of parallax and distance with the trees in the distance there. And you got this beautiful sunset just coming over the mountains there. I love the way it catches the rocks just here. You have that kind of highlighted area of sunlight. Looks amazing. This whole area is just fantastic. I love the fact that the main road going up to the facility isn't just kind of straight. It's kind of got this bending nature to it. It looks really natural. I really like that. It's a shame there's no like Easter eggs or anything in this outdoor area. I've had a look around a couple of times. I haven't been able to find anything. Maybe there is something somewhere, but I haven't had any luck finding it just yet. I like how you start the map out just kind of sitting on a chair looking at the sunset. That's a great way to start, and you've got kind of a couple of beer bottles around you. Just a nice little piece of story to start with. Doesn't get in any player's way, but it just gives a little bit of context as to why you're there. Just enjoying the view. So when you get into the main facility here, you can hear Philip's broadcast going out. You can see everyone getting ready to repel an assault. And again, this is another map where you don't really have a specific objective to defend. It's more just a case of area defense, with the fail state being you die. So this gun here is picked out as being especially important with a kind of beeping sound. There's a nice little attention to detail here where when you walk into the room, the guy manning the gun will get off of it for you, which kind of makes the gun feel important even more than it would normally. When you leave the room, they get back on the weapon again. It's a nice little touch. I guess it works well as well during the actual assault that there's always someone on the main gun. So even the interior here is really well done. Nice lighting. Good attention to detail all over the place. I do like this lift, and it comes in especially handy. One of the things I wasn't too keen on with this map, this is probably a recurring theme, but it just takes way too long to set everything up, I think. So once you get down here, you've got like, I don't know, 8 or 10 sentry guns you can bring back up on the lift with you to set up however you desire. I mean, there's quite a lot of real estate to cover in this map, so I guess you need this many sentry guns to get decent coverage, but it just takes so long to set up. I think I would have liked to have, you know, a whole set of sentry guns already upstairs that you could just unpack, like have one of these dispenser things already up there, then perhaps have some more down here. I suppose that could lead to a situation where players never come down here though, which probably not very desirable. So I'm going to spend a couple of minutes loading up all these sentry guns, so let's skip that, shall we? Here we go. So using the lift to transport them all, because it would be an absolute nightmare to move all these sentry guns around up that huge shaft without some kind of additional help. It would have taken absolutely forever. So yeah, thank God there's a lift there to do the heavy lifting for you. Now I like the fact that in this main arena, that we're going to call this area here, I suppose it is an arena, you've got lots of little side passages, and you've got just about enough sentry guns to get decent coverage throughout it all. So I like this area a lot. One thing I found really interesting with the sentry guns that I didn't see in any other map aside from this one is that as the assault goes on, your sentry guns will start combusting and breaking down, which I thought was a really cool idea. It's kind of slowly dwindling resource, and it plays into the whole being pushed back thing, which is another fantastic element to this map, is that you feel like you're losing, and rather than just having the losing be, oh, you were killed, so the failed state is you die and that's it. You actually feel like you're being pushed back, which is something that's really hard to do in a defense map, especially when players are involved, because they can get very frustrated. You know, they don't want to fall back. They would rather fight to the death. It can be very hard to give the player the feeling they should fall back, and that is actually the correct thing to do. Justin does that incredibly well in this map. It feels completely natural to fall back. Now, there's a couple of things that help with that. Things like all the rebels start shouting at you like fall back, and you know, your sentry guns start combusting and breaking down. The Combines start making a really big push with lots of shotgunners and AR2 soldiers. It just feels incredibly natural to want to fall back into the shaft. So I've set up all my sentry guns. One thing that isn't quite clear is that there's a button to close the outer doors on the bottom level. I think that's what actually... I mean, I'm not sure how it's completely triggered up, but I'm guessing that's like the final piece of the puzzle to trigger the Combine ambush, perhaps. It could be on a timer as well, I don't know, but it felt like nothing really happened until I closed the door, which took a while, so we're going to skip to that. Here we go. So this button is fairly well hidden unless you're really paying attention. Quickly pop a sentry gun out there. Now this is, just as a disclaimer, this is about the 4th or 5th time I've played this map, so I think I've got a fairly good idea of where to put sentry guns to get maximum coverage now. And now I'm just trying to place some barrels in front of them so that perhaps they'll deflect some incoming fire and grenades and things like that. Not really quite sure how well that ends up working, but it's worth a try. No mines or anything to place. That comes as somewhat as a relief, to be perfectly honest, after spending so long placing mines in the previous maps in this pack so far. That can get really tedious, so although there are loads of sentry guns to set up here, having just one thing to focus on is actually kind of nice. Now the alarm starts going off and we're treated with another fantastic vista. Again, this is great reuse of this whole area. You're always kind of looking at it through a window. Gets excellent use out of it. It's a lovely backdrop for the invasion, which again is another spectacle. I don't think I've ever seen so many kind of dropships used in an area like this. This is something I always kind of toyed with myself, like having a big invasion map, kind of I suppose like a D-Day invasion from the sky with the Combine, just having thousands of dropships coming through the air in this really epic moment. Justin's obviously had the same idea here and it looks amazing. So you can shoot the dropships with your minigun here. Don't actually know if it affects the outcome of the drop at all. I know you can actually destroy the dropships, but I don't know if you can actually destroy the containers they're carrying and stop them from laying down soldiers. I don't think you can, honestly. Get a little bit of an Apocalypse Now vibe as all the gunships leave. And now the assault begins. So I think perhaps the wait between the dropships dropping off their cargo and then the assault is perhaps a little bit long. I feel like the climax of them dropping their payload is perhaps lessened a little bit, just for this strange little gap between the action. Would have been nice to perhaps see some head crab canisters launched in as well, just for dramatic effect. And then when the Combine reach the door, they actually blow a hole through the door I just closed. I'm not going to worry about that too much right now because I've got a whole bunch of sentry guns down there and soldiers and other things. So now I've got a helicopter fight. I like the idea of this, but I love this. I wonder if that's just happenstance that a bomb drops through that hole there, or whether it's triggered to do that every time the helicopter drops over. It's incredibly well done, even if it is done that way. It feels very natural. But yeah, the gunship fight itself, it can be quite annoying because he'll fly behind your field of view for long periods of time, which can get really irritating after a while. I'm using the gun here to provide a little bit of cover for me, but it's another thing that I find really annoying in turret style segments is that when stuff is shooting at you, you have very little to hide behind. I would almost prefer like a little like defensive screen in front of the gun or something that you can see through but protects you from bullets. The helicopter comes back. I think something that would have been nice is a little bit more interactivity with the bombs, so perhaps this hole in the ceiling isn't there at the start and the bombs gradually destroy parts of the facility around you as you're fighting this gunship. That would have been quite cool. As it stands, you just end up kind of waiting around for the helicopter to come back each time. It does try the patience a little bit, but it's nothing too annoying. And we finally take him out on the tail rotor there. Now, usually when you destroy the helicopter, it flies straight into the front of the building here and actually destroys the gun you were using. As you can see now, it's disappeared. I'm guessing because I killed it at a strange angle there, it didn't have a chance to impact where it wanted to. So your gun just kind of disappears. We have to repair all our defences. I've never actually tried running out into the field to meet them, although it's probably an absolutely terrible idea considering just how many soldiers are out there. So I like the way that there's two entrances into this area now, not just the one through the wall here. I think I would have liked an entrance to open up on the other side as well. Like perhaps the Combine set charges and blow up the wall directly below this position here, so they've got 3 entrances in. The rebels are scripted extremely well. They always generally do useful things rather than just standing there getting shot at. So they'll man all the machine guns and generally stand in decent positions to defend the various entry points. I like the fact that as a player you have a lot of choice as to where you want to be during this combat. You're not kind of pigeonholed into one particular area, aside from obviously taking out the gunship where you kind of need to be on the minigun in order to do that. But aside from that, it's very freeform. You can come up here into the pillboxes, you can stay downstairs and defend the breaches. It's really up to you what you want to do. Now, these smaller mounted guns aren't quite as effective as the minigun. They lack a lot of accuracy at range, which I'm sure is by design. Lets the Combine close in a little bit before they get into the real kill zone. So you can see here that my turrets have started to combust. And the Combine are getting closer. Now you can hear all the rebels shouting that they're retreating and to get out of there. You can see here most of my turrets here have been destroyed, so the Combine have a very easy job breaking into the base now, especially once all the rebels disappear as well. You end up kind of left there by yourself. So the retreat here feels very natural, which we've already talked about, but just wanted to reiterate that. Now we get snipes from Combine in the arse. This really does feel like a kind of final stand moment. You're not really quite sure whether you're going to succeed or not, which I thought was very, very cool. Now I did keep 2 turrets back here for this defence. I'm not sure if they're still up, I'll have to check. But they do help out a lot here. The Combine can actually get fairly close if you don't have extra turrets down here. Oh yeah, they're still up. And then at the 11th hour, you get a couple of Autogons to show up and they just wipe the floor with everything. So these guys are definitely the heavy artillery that you need right now. They do a really great job of pushing the combine back. I think they're pinpoint accurate at just about any range. Just going to dodge some combine balls there. Now I'm not sure what happened here, but you can see there's a Vortigaunt on my side there that's a little bit hesitant about going up the stairs. That's never really happened before. I don't know why it happened this time, but normally they just run up there and completely obliterate everything. Yeah, this one's a little bit hesitant, so I'm going to push up. You see the two on the other side have just gone up and completely destroyed everyone. Have to be a little bit careful because my health is a bit low. So yeah, in a nutshell, this map, while I think I enjoyed some other maps in terms of gameplay just as much as this, I think this one wins just in terms of visuals and just getting the player to move around while in a defense scenario. The whole retreat and then 11th hour save is extremely well done here. Enjoyed that a lot.
Calling all outposts. Be advised that Outpost 420 was successfully defended. Stand by for further orders.
Got a nice piece of custom voice by Philip at the end there. So yeah, all in all, great map. Really enjoyed this one. I thought it took a little bit too long to set everything up, as tends to be the case with all these maps so far. But aside from that, it's really hard to find something I didn't like about it. Alright, be back with more Defendville soon.